Let's get started. Welcome. I think we're going to wait a minute or two for everyone to join, but I wanted to welcome everyone who's here and Kevin, of course, for being here. A few quick items before we get started. So first of all, you can ask questions or add comments in the chat throughout the event. For all of the founders and CEOs who are watching this and thinking, I either want to pitch in this competition next time they have it, or I want to talk about raising money on StartEngine, you can go to startengine.com/shark and apply to pitch or apply to raise on StartEngine. So welcome everybody. I am the Chief Marketing Officer here at StartEngine. This is our third pitch competition. So we do one every quarter and we have really raised the stakes. So we received thousands of applications. We were only able to select 5 companies. There are going to be 2 winners. So the first winner is going to be chosen by Kevin. This company will receive $25,000 in cash, a one-on-one with Kevin O'Leary and StartEngine CEO Howard Marks, and over $40,000 of in-kind services from some of our sponsors. So that includes Brex, an innovative fintech company that offers business credit cards and cash management accounts to tech startups. HubSpot, an amazing CRM for sales and marketing. I've got to say, we actually use HubSpot here at StartEngine, so I can definitely vouch for what a great tool it is. And Hawke Media, an award-winning digital marketing agency that has worked with companies from all different types of industries, sizes, you name it. And they are sort of the outsourced CMO or marketing team. The second prize is going to be going to the crowd favorite. So all of our viewers that are watching here on Zoom, you'll get the chance to vote for your favorite. And this crowd favorite is going to win $5,000 in cash. For anyone who's new to StartEngine, or if you're watching this on LinkedIn Live and you're a super fan of Kevin's, but you have no idea what StartEngine is, we are the largest equity crowdfunding site in the US. We have helped hundreds of companies raise more than $300 million from the crowd. And these companies range from different industries, different backgrounds, and different locations. So we have had jetpacks, we've had local breweries, we've had green tech. If you are interested in raising money on StartEngine and you're wondering if there's a business that looks like yours that's done it, I can almost guarantee that you will find it on our website. And without further ado, Kevin, I wanted to introduce and welcome you to the stage.
Thank you. I'm very excited. And this is the first pitch competition we've had since the rules have changed and opened up equity crowdfunding to $5 million. It used to be $1,070,000. And
Yes.
Now $5 million, an initial round, is extremely competitive. And I'm a huge advocate for crowdfunding, and I'll tell you why, particularly StartEngine. Hundreds of thousands of investors already on the platform. This democratizes investing. It's a huge opportunity to raise capital. You can stay on the platform your entire growth cycle, years to come, and you don't have to deal with nasty VCs who want preference shares. I hate preference shares. I believe in a level playing field, and that's why I'm doing this. Let it roll.
Love to hear that. Yeah, our goal is really to help entrepreneurs achieve their dreams and break down a lot of those barriers. So on StartEngine, you get the chance to set your terms. And as Kevin mentioned, this rule change that happened, I think last week, has been a huge difference in equity crowdfunding. So Kevin, I just quickly wanted to mention, I realize we're 1 year into working together. So you joined StartEngine as a strategic advisor and investor, I think literally the last day that our offices were open before shutdown. So,
Yes.
So much has changed throughout the past year for companies and for just the world of startup funding. What do you think that impact is on startup funding and raising a different round of capital?
Well, I think running a business through the pandemic is very important because you're obviously under tremendous stress for a whole bunch of reasons. But the most important thing is the doors stayed open to raise money for entrepreneurs. Regardless of how bad it got out there, StartEngine was doing its thing, helping entrepreneurs raise capital. And now as we come out of this pandemic and look forward to a new American economy, as I call it, digital 2.0, a lot of direct consumer ideas, a lot of technology at play, developing relationships with customers. I can't think of a better platform to be involved with now to help fund these companies do their thing in a time where we're going to have a very rapidly expanding economy. I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but the estimates out there for Q4 of 2021 GDP growth are 7 to 9%. You haven't seen that since the 50s. We're in the golden era. What a fantastic time to start a business. And of course, fund it. That's the whole idea. And I think this is the platform to do it on. So that's why we have these competitions. I'm proud to be part of them, find new great businesses and entrepreneurs. So Joanna, pull the trigger. Let's get rolling.
Great. Okay, so let's kick it off. We've got a packed schedule. We have 5 amazing entrepreneurs. So here's how it's going to work. 5 companies. Each company is going to have 3 minutes to pitch and then 4 minutes of questions from Kevin. At the end, Kevin will choose the company to win the $25,000 prize, and all of you will vote for the crowd favorite to win $5,000. So let's go into our first pitch, which is going to be Roiby. Elnaz, please unmute your mic and turn on your camera. Elnaz Saraf is the founder and CEO of Roiby. She founded Roiby with the goal of creating a technology that would empower children by providing access to personalized education. She was named Woman of Influence by Silicon Valley Business Journal and is a member of the Forbes Technology Council. Please welcome Elnaz.
Hi, Johanna. Thank you very much. Great opening and information. Hi, Kevin, and everybody else watching today. Thank you for having us. A good education is a foundation for a better future, but there are over 250 million children globally at risk of not reaching their potentials by age 5 because they do not have access to quality education, and the education system is one size fits all. We developed Roiby, an AI-powered edutainment system for children to focus on personalized learning through language learning, communication, and also STEM skills. We are the only company to have developed a patented speech recognition engine in children's voice AI. Roiby is conversational. With voice AI, it can understand children's answer. We also have patent pending technology to evaluate child's interests and abilities through face and emotion detection, as well as machine learning to deliver content based on their progress. Roiby provides a sophisticated one-to-one tutoring experience at home, at school, or anywhere in the world. Roiby was featured 2 times on the cover of Time magazine as one of the best inventions in education and has gained significant media coverage. Roiby provides an active learning experience rather than passive learning through phones, tablets, or TVs. Actually, one of our recent focus groups showed that Roiby helped children to drop screen time by 46%, and their engagement with Roiby actually increased 84% on a daily basis, which is actually amazing. We officially launched our product into the market in May 2020. We are now available in major retail stores in North America. We've gained 286% growth in revenue and have individual customers in more than 30 countries. The exciting part is we are now working on Roiby's ecosystem. We are transitioning from pure hardware to primarily SaaS subscription and partially hardware. We envision creating an ecosystem of connected Roibys and its community, provide AI personalized content to make our technology available to other platforms through licensing, and add further gamification capability to Roiby. This will provide a massive growth opportunity for Roiby. We are a very experienced team of combined 20 years experience in tech, education, and business, and some of our team members were part of 3 exits in the past. We raised 4.2 million in our seed round in 2019 and now seeking 5 million to invest in R&D, content, and launch our subscription and licensing packages. We invite you to join us in this journey to prepare children for a much better future utilizing artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Very interesting. Can I ask you, can you give us a profile of revenue? You said you grew over 280% in 2020. What are your revenues for 2021, do you think?
So we think we can make at least 3 million, and that would consist of retail sales and some partially marketplace, as we launched our Mandarin language very recently, about a few weeks ago, and 6% of our users actually converted and purchased the programs. So we believe we can have some subscriptions as well moving forward.
So you said you were initially launching hardware along with the software and that little doll. What percentage of this 3 million was actually hardware sales and how much was software?
So this year, we still believe that majority of the sales will be hardware because we are still transitioning to subscription. Last year, everything was hardware. We launched the marketplace this year, and 2021, that would gradually shift. So we believe still 60% would be hardware and then 40% subscription. But eventually, more than 70% will come from subscription and licensing. We had some companies reach out to us, actually license our technology and content.
So if I look at a pie chart of revenue, what percentage is US domestic and what revenue is rest of world?
Sure. So we made about 80% of that in North America. We also had a huge deal with Best Buy Canada. We are all in all stores and online. And then 20% is across the world, individual customers. And we are in 2 stores in Dubai right now.
What are your customer acquisition costs? Do you have an idea of what it costs you to acquire a customer through any channel, online or retail?
So generally on, for example, social media, we try to stay at ROAS 4. So it's going to cost us about $45 to sometimes $60 to acquire. So best performing campaigns we have are retargeting, bringing them back. But on retail, it's a little bit more expensive. But how we try to structure this is we also ask the retailers to participate with us in promotions.
Okay, so if it's $40 to $50 to acquire a customer, what is the revenue? What are your margins? What does it sell for? What does it cost to make?
Sure.
What other incomes you get from those customers? As you know, if you acquire a customer and you're only doing one sale, you're going to have to make more than $50 to make money, right?
Yes, absolutely. So in the current situation, either we break even or at some of the sales we lose. And that's why we want to gradually shift towards subscription and also decrease our price. Originally, our price was $200. Now we dropped it to $150. And we had 62% profit margin, and now it is dropped to 50%. Through e-commerce, we have about 25% gross margin, and if we do with retailers, it's generally around 12%, which is very low. We understand that, but as volume goes up, our margins are going to improve.
So if you're making 12% and you're selling it for $150, and the majority of your sales are all through retail now. Didn't you say that, or what's the split, retail versus online?
So actually, majority of our sales are online, but through retailers like we are at Amazon, Bye Bye Baby, Best Buy, and so on. So majority, between 65 to 70% is actually coming from e-commerce, and then the rest of it is retail. But right now, it's only one retail that is all stores in Best Buy Canada.
Okay, so once someone buys it, what other revenue can you get from them over time?
So we can get the language packages and content. And one of our strategies, so right now we launch Marketplace. So each program is currently $2.99 and contains 10 lessons that teaches Mandarin to kids. As we add more languages and premium content, for example, we are adding more stories. Our customers want more advanced math. So those are the extra revenues that we can get from current circumstance. And then we want to shift to drop the hardware price. We are working on dropping the bomb, and then shift primarily to subscription on the AI content.
Okay. Last question, yes. What is the target age of the children you're going after?
Right now, we are targeting ages 2 to 8 for early childhood education, and we are increasing age range as we add more programs.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much. Good presentation.
It was wonderful to meet you.
Okay, for our next presenter, we have John. John, please unmute your mic and turn on your camera. John Quinn is the founder and CEO of Exos Aerospace, a leading developer and operator of reusable space vehicles. John has built 7 companies and started his career serving in the Navy's silent service on submarines. Please welcome John.
Thank you, everyone, for making this opportunity available. Thank you, Mr. Wonderful, for being on. So today I'm going to tell you about Exos. We build reusable reusable launch vehicle, and our mission is making space available. So we all know about the International Space Station. It supported 3,000 research experiments. Well, I started Exos to focus on the development side of that research and development to provide airline-type on-demand service for space. As one example that I'm passionate about, Mayo Clinic invested 5 years and millions of dollars to demonstrate that it's possible to grow stem cells quickly in space to support regenerative medicine. It's too slow to do it on Earth. It's not effective, but we have the research that shows us how to do it. We just don't have a way to manufacture. So my passion is a little bit personally driven. My dad suffered a debilitating stroke, and the phase 1 clinical trials from that stem cell research showed the potential to restore both his vision loss and also his ability to walk without a walker. And that was just part of phase 1 trials. We could produce those cells in space on a vehicle that went up and then returned in just a matter of weeks instead of taking that 5 years. Oh, by the way, our rockets can also serve all the conventional payload needs, like putting satellites up to support defense and regenerative medicine as we evolve from our suborbital vehicle, which just goes to space, hangs out for a few minutes, comes back 20 minutes later with your payload, to one that goes to space and orbits. So Exos is one of 4 companies in the world that actually has flown a reusable rocket. And we're doing it to overcome the inconvenience of space access by not just using reusable rockets, but air launching our reusable rockets. So, Mr. Wonderful, I've got to ask you a question. The last time you took Linda to dinner, how'd you get there?
On a bicycle.
On a bicycle. Okay, when you got to the restaurant, did you throw your bike away?
No, absolutely not.
No. So why for 50 years have we been throwing our rockets away and launching them from very inconvenient places? So Exos has demonstrated reusability, having flown their Sarge rocket that you see a picture from here 4 times. Our team has built hundreds of rocket engines, including one we started 1,000 times, speaking to the reusability. We've created dozens of flying vehicles, some of which you see on the screen here. One we sold to NASA, and another was my favorite. It's a rocket racing plane. And we actually put a couple of those in the air at the Tulsa Air Show. Probably the first time 2 rocket planes have flown together in the air since World War II. Now, while Virgin Orbit solves the problem of flexibility, their 747 is still a single-use rocket. So why did NASA, DARPA, and the Air Force invest about $40 million in the approach you see here called towed glider air launch? And in one word, it's scalability. That 747 can carry about 70% of its weight. If I want a bigger rocket or I need to put a bigger payload up, I can't. But using a glider can carry 17 times its weight and launch from anywhere for flexible space access. So there are the vehicles where we demonstrate usability and the rocket picture. This is the technology that we're talking about doing air launch. And of course, it's NASA patented and licensed technology. And this is the tribute to Kevin to kind of catch me up here, where we actually are licensing what we know about reusable rocket flight into other nations, selling it like a licensing model. We call it a national charter enterprise. And we're also doing that to fund our activities in the US. So international development reduces geographic risk and also provides us a worldwide stage to sell our services. Because one of the things we noticed on our suborbital is that we're not able to sell to those European customers because they want a European launch provider. Now, if we leverage our existing Air Force contract and we bootstrap the company, we can come to an exit in about 4 or 5 years. However, if we raise a couple $100 million to commence our US orbital program, just a replica of what we're doing in Italy, we envision a better return with less perceived risk. A small invested team you see in the top right-hand corner has been doing this for about 20 years, and we're doing for millions on a smaller scale, what you might recognize Elon Musk with SpaceX and Bezos with Blue Origin have done with billions. We have Mike McClendon, he's our Air Force consultant, and of course, thanks for the great intro earlier. I came from Navy submarines going from the depths of the ocean, and now I'm trying to head for the far reaches of space. I'm supported by David Mitchell. He's a pastor. He's a fourth generation oil man. He owns a registered investment advisory firm. He's an entrepreneur himself. He's raised about $5.7 million to date for Exos since in 2014. And we've raised that through 504D offerings. And with that, I'll go to questions, Mr. Wonderful.
So the obvious question is, if you think of Blue Origin and SpaceX, and because these are private companies, and you've identified this is a big space that a lot of private companies are getting into, they've raised billions and billions and billions of dollars and funded by their founders as well. And the Richard Branson project, same thing. So exactly, you know, I guess any investor would ask this question: how can you compete if everybody else has to go through the $1 billion capex and you don't? What are you doing differently?
Yeah, so they're taking things the size of school buses to space, right? And what we're focusing on is that research that's already been done developing it with a very small vehicle, much like Rocket Lab, a little bit bigger than where they are today. But we're actually going to reuse our reusability technology, which allows us to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. And we're going to apply that to the second stage. So just like it's nothing NASA hasn't already done and we don't have the technology for, but we're going to put up a small 200 kilogram to 600 kilogram payload. So, 400 to 1,200 pounds roughly. And then we're going to put it on orbit for 2 to 3 weeks to allow, for example, the stem cells is a great example, and then bring it back to the launch site through reentry. So we're going to offer an on-demand service. If Blue Origin or SpaceX today miss a launch window from the coast of Florida or from West Texas, they may have to wait 30 days to hit that window again. With our launch platform being in the air, which Richard Branson has addressed, he can just fly a couple hundred miles back and still hit a launch window. He can fly north and get to that right trajectory for where your payload wants to go. The big guys, it may take 2 or 3 months to get there.
So you're not going to be using human payloads at all. This is not for human flight. You're going to use it for industrial purposes like growing stem cells that you detailed earlier. That's the mission of this company, right?
Exactly. And it's not just stem cells. Obviously, we'll put satellites up, but it's an on-demand service where we fly to where we need to go so you can launch on your schedule, not ours. And today it's you launch on, when can you get to that trajectory from the coast that they're on? This is totally mobile. We're just adding in the fact that we can do the air launch to make it more flexible than we are today and reusable.
Have you done any launches yet to prove this out? Ones that went up and down, and the other you referenced was in orbit and then returned. Have you done any of that successfully yet?
So the vehicle behind us flew 4 times, didn't go to orbit. It's not an orbital class vehicle, but it is our proof of concept vehicle that our technologies come from. The re-entry will rely on somebody else who's already done it. NASA has brought multiple experiments back. We're great at prototyping, and we're great at licensing NASA technologies where they've developed these things. And I stay away from the cutting edge. I do what's been proven.
Do you have any relationship with NASA? Do you have any contracts with industrial partners that are interested in using this platform? At what stage are you at in developing potential revenue?
We've been a NASA ready provider since 2014. We have flown 4 payloads for NASA. There's about a $20 million a year budget just for this reusable vehicle. And we take a portion of that with 3 competitors, Up Aerospace, ourselves, and Blue Origin. But Blue Origin shifted to people, so we expect more of those payloads. But this is really an education play and a cheap prototype, basically.
And how much are you seeking to raise right now?
$200 million.
And this is the first round, or have you raised money already?
We've already raised $5.7 million through private offerings.
What valuation was the 5.7 raised at?
110 million valuation in the be around 6.
Okay, just one last thing. How many employees do you have right now?
Total of about a dozen with about 7 or 8 contractors.
I told you we were going to give you variety, Kevin.
Definitely.
And we're going to continue doing that with our next company. So Peekaboo Ice Cream. Jessica, please unmute your mic and turn on your camera. Jessica Levinson is the founder and CEO of Peekaboo Ice Cream. As a mother of 3, she made it her mission to create a treat that contained veggies but tasted like actual ice cream. Please welcome Jessica.
Jessica, just to hang on one second. You look pretty familiar to me. Didn't I meet you in the Shark Tank? Didn't Lori and I make you an offer?
You did make me an offer.
And what happened?
And I declined.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah, this is your second chance, Kevin.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Second
All
chance.
right, I don't want to burn up your time. I just want to disclose the facts. You've already made it to the Shark Tank. And anyways, let's hear any changes in the pitch. Go ahead.
Mr. Wonderful, we know each other really well at this point.
That's right. That's right.
As you stated, we met before. I filmed Shark Tank in 2019. And guess what? I still have not been crushed like a cockroach. Just the opposite. So now here I'm reintroducing Peekaboo. It's still the only super premium organic ice cream enriched with hidden veggies. Wait, veggies? That's right. My kids are really unique in that they hate eating their veggies. I know, super rare. And I'm sure any parent watching this and even your own kids probably have them scarfing down broccoli and beets constantly. Just kidding. The one thing that I think we can always count on is that kids and sometimes adults hate eating their veggies. My name is Jessica Levison, as I've been introduced, and I'm the founder and CEO of Peekaboo Ice Cream. I've been making ice cream at my ice cream shop for the last 13 years, so I'd expect my kids to consume an inordinate amount of ice cream, but I was unprepared for their aversion to anything green. So in a desperate attempt to get them to eat their veggies, I wondered, could I create something that was simultaneously decadent and indulgent, but also moved us closer to nutritional balance? Wouldn't that be a game changer? Did you know that only 1 in 10 Americans eat enough veggies to meet federal guidelines for veggie consumption? Did you also know that the average American eats 23 pounds of ice cream a year? That's 44 pints. Peekaboo ice cream is the solution. It bridges the gap between what we don't get enough of, which is veggies, and what we can't get enough of, which is ice cream. And ice cream is a $13.5 billion category, and 40% of its growth is driven by nutritional claims. More specifically, consumers want nutrition derived from veggies. Peekaboo fills that white space at the intersection of health and indulgence, and we're the only brand in this space. And our nutritional panel speaks for itself. Peekaboo is higher in vitamins and minerals, and it's certified organic, and it's lower in sugar than all of our competitors. We're also women-owned, as I mentioned, certified organic, and a certified B Corp too. So we're good for you, and we're good for the planet. And we've gotten a lot of traction since we first met Mr. Wonderful. Retailers have noticed the value of our innovation. We launched just before we filmed Shark Tank in 2019, and since then, our pints have landed distribution in over 1,500 retailers nationwide, including Whole Foods and Safeway. We've launched a rebrand since we first met, 2 new flavors, and we grew direct-to-consumer sales 1,200%. We won $200,000 in an accelerator program, and our plan for this year is just as ambitious. We're reformulating with even lower sugar. We're launching to Costco with a snack size mini cup, which will position us to expand into food service in the years to come. And at the end of the day, we're really positioning Peekaboo Ice Cream to be a platform brand and expand into different product categories in the years to come. We're really building the future of better for you ice cream and better for you desserts. And I know at least one person that got that memo. The other day, my 6-year-old son, Leo, walked up to me all excited and he said, Mommy, I know how to make ice cream. And I said, tell me how. And he responded, you start with veggies. So what do you say, Mr. Wonderful? Second time's a charm?
Well, I have tried your product. And it's very, very good. I mean, I will admit you don't think that you're eating vegetables, but there was a lot of calories in it in that first iteration. So have you launched the lower cal version of it yet?
We're actually working with a really huge retailer. We reformulated a lower sugar, low calorie version. Still not what was suggested by Lori, which was like a diet ice cream, because my lane is still indulgent. But certainly a better.
I was never on board for that because I thought it would taste like crap.
Right,
But
exactly.
and I think kids would need it, so it wouldn't achieve it. But what is a serving now going to have in calories under the new formulation?
Well, I'm focusing not so much on calories, but sugar content, which is important to parents.
Yeah.
So if I can speak to that, currently a serving of chocolate, a scoop of our Peekaboo chocolate ice cream has about 17 grams of sugar, and we can take that down to 9 grams of sugar.
And just out of interest, because as a parent, I might want to eat it if it had a lower calorie count. What would that be for, let's say, a scoop of ice cream?
About 190 calories. It's
Not
competitive.
bad, not bad.
Yeah.
That's probably because I always felt in I remember your presentation was very good, but I always felt about it was the market would be significantly expanded because I enjoy ice cream, but I don't want the calories because I count my calories. But I love the flavor, and I hate diet ice cream. It tastes like absolute shit. And so this tasted great, and 200 would be decent. Okay, let's talk about revenue. What is 2021 going to look like? And what was 2020?
2021, we're projecting to end at 1.5.
Yeah.
2020 was under $1 million. We offset a lot of, we had COVID really impacted brick and mortar sales and retailers. So we offset that with pivoting to direct to consumer, and that's been really successful for us.
That's difficult. Direct to consumer frozen goods, very challenging. How are you doing that? And are you charging shipping?
Yeah, well, we're charging shipping. We're working on different models. So far, it's been successful, and that's just through organic traffic. It's expensive, but since we're the only product on the market with hidden veggies and really targeting this white space, consumers are paying for it. What we've also found through serving our consumers is that 90% of them recommend Peekaboo to another consumer. So that obviously has that sort of viral component that you would expect from a product targeting parents. But to your point, it's not inexpensive. We have to ship with dry ice, and that's sort of built into the pint cost online.
Now, have you worked this out with a co-packer yet? I can't remember if you had a co-packer when you were in Shark Tank.
We do have a co-packer. We have one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast.
And are they scalable?
Very, very scalable. We're actually expecting an order from Costco and also Japan, which would be truckload quantities, and they have that ability.
Has anybody delisted the first initial offerings from the shelf?
There's been some retailers, particularly during COVID, because the reset didn't occur seamlessly. So we reset in March and COVID hit at the same time. So throughout COVID, it was sort of hit and miss, depending on whether all the shelves were reset. None of the promotions were really put into place. So it was like it was a rough year, and which was why it was really important to offset with something that we could manage a lot better, which is D2C. I have a fulfillment center. We have the product in inventory. And so it was a rough patch with those retailers that had reset as COVID was hitting.
How many employees do you have now?
I have 3 full-time and about 6 contractors.
What is the flavor mix now? Just a percentage breakdown, or are there any new flavors coming this year?
We do. Well, so we just launched at the tail end of 2020. We launched a birthday cake flavor that's a unicorn. It's called Unicorn, Peekaboo Unicorn. And it's a birthday cake flavor with a frosting swirl. We launched cookie dough that's got hidden zucchini. And we have 2 vegan flavors, a mango with squash and a strawberry with hidden tomato.
The total number of flavors now?
9.
And what is the breakdown in sales across the 9?
So the first 5 are evenly split. The unicorn was just picked up for this particular reset in 2021. So the unicorn is just hitting shelves now. So
Okay.
I would say it's pretty evenly split, 2020.
Got it.
The original 5 flavors.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Jessica.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, I want to do a very quick reset because I see a lot of new faces popping up. So if you are just tuning in, or if you tuned in recently, this is StartEngine's Shark Pitch with Kevin O'Leary. I want to thank all of our sponsors, so Brex, HubSpot, Hawke Media, who have been amazing here. We are 3 pitches in, and we have 2 pitches to go. Again, I see a bunch of people in the chat sort of pitching their own company. If you are interested in pitching this event or talking about raising a round of funding on StartEngine, go to startengine.com/shark and you can apply. So we have our 4th pitch of the day, and that is Trust Stamp. So Andrew, please unmute your mic and turn on your camera. Andrew Gawasak is the founder, CEO, and president of TrustAmp. Andrew is an economist and began his career in financial services. He's completed multiple incubator programs, including Plug and Play and Founder Space in Silicon Valley. Please welcome Andrew.
Thank you, Joanna. Just one quick correction. So I co-founded the company back in 2016. My co-founder serves as CEO and I serve as its president. Kevin, I want to thank you for your time today. And as you mentioned at the start, the global digital economy is really growing rapidly, and participation in the market requires access to secure, private, and trusted identities. And with in-person interactions really limited by COVID-19, strong digital identity is needed more than ever. But traditional identity factors like names, addresses, and national ID numbers are broken, with 36 billion personal records exposed in 2020 alone. Now, as a result, a growing number of industries are starting to use biometrics like face, fingerprint, or palm scans even, because of their ubiquity as well as their ease of use. Unfortunately, we are sitting on a biometrics data time bomb. See, after a biometric is captured, a template is generated, and this template is highly sensitive because it can't be reset like your username or password if it's ever compromised. So TrustAmp diffuses that biometric time bomb using artificial intelligence and machine learning technology to transform the templates into irreversibly transformed identity tokens, or IT2s for short. TrustAmp's proprietary technology makes it impossible to reverse engineer a biometric out of an IT2 while preserving the properties that make them both unique and accurate identifiers. So the IT2 is a privacy positive approach for matching identities against one or even many identities without storing any of that sensitive information, facilitating secure and interoperable identity proofing. Now, TrustAmp works both with enterprise and government partners. So as you can imagine, our deployment model is very flexible. We can deploy on-premise, in the cloud, via API and SDK, or even entirely on personal devices. And we follow a very simple pay-per-transaction business model. Now, while our technology is deployed with multiple enterprises, including 2 S&P 500 financial service companies, one of our largest opportunities is with MasterCard, and that's to improve access to medical, humanitarian, and educational services in the developing world, where 1.1 billion people don't have access to those services simply because they can't prove their own identities. But with TrustAmp, an adult will be able to bring a child in for these services to identify themselves simply by either snapping an image of their face, their palm, or their fingerprint. And rather than storing that sensitive information like a photo or a biometric template, the organization that they're working with can just use the IT2 for future verifications. Now in 2020, we were able to double our team and increase our revenue nearly 40%. And we won the prestigious Blue Tulip FinTech Award in Amsterdam, and we're number 771 on the Inc. 5000 list. We closed a $10 million Series A in July with close to 2,800 shareholders. We were listed on Euronext Growth in Dublin by December. For 2021, our contracted revenue already exceeds 2020 sales. And we started a $5 million raise, and that's to accelerate growth and increase our shareholder base as we progress towards a NASDAQ listing. And I'm happy to share that we have 3.6 million of that already reserved in the first 11 days. And that's at a 96% increase in our share price compared to the Series A. So Kevin, thank you for your time today. I'd love to answer any of your questions about TrustAmp.
The $10 million raise, what valuation was that done at?
So that was at a share price of $7.79.
Okay, but what's the total market cap of the company?
So I'd have to look on the OTC QX listing. It literally updates by the hour depending on the trading price.
It's trading already, so you don't know what is just generally what's the market cap? What are you selling? What's the company worth today?
So the company value, again depending on the price, is around 40 to 50 million.
Okay, and what are the sales?
So sales is largely focused on enterprise customers, and we have 10 of those. And while some of those are channel partners and some of those are direct customers, some of the cases that we're really focusing in on are reselling that technology to a network. So in total, those networks encompass over 35,000 individual banks and financial institutions, as well as the work with MasterCard, some of the world's largest nonprofit and government organizations.
When you talk, I'm just trying to get a sense of 2020. If you're, because I mean, you have to get enterprise to adopt IT2 through
Correct.
some licensing arrangement or subscription service or whatever it is. So when you look at your optimistic forecast for 2021, what do you think you're going to make in revenue as a company?
Sure. So again, because we're listed, I can't give those kinds of forward-looking statements, but I'll give you, again, a little bit more flavor so you can kind of
Well,
get a
give me your
picture.
last
So,
quarter, whether you publicly disclosed.
Sure. So if we didn't receive a single penny in revenue over or above what we've already contracted and maintained, the expense and maintaining the current expense level and budget, we would be able to run until April 2022. And again, that's if we didn't raise any additional money. That would be if we didn't.
But you must have reported you must have
money.
reported revenue in your last statement, public statement. What revenue did you report?
Sure. So the last reported revenue was audited back in 2019, and that was $2.1 million.
Okay. And do you have a growth rate that you've told people publicly what it is?
Unfortunately, not publicly yet.
Okay, got it. Okay. So this deal really, I mean, you have competitors in this space, and this is a very actively invested in space. Who would you say your top three competitors are?
Sure. So the interesting thing is the IT2 is actually the first authentication solution of its type that's able to work across both providers and modalities. So while there are lots and lots of, ID companies, and those range from biometrics companies to document verification companies, neither we nor our partners have been able to find someone who's able to provide, again, this technology that works both across providers and modalities. And that's largely because we spent 5 years and millions of dollars really to assemble the industry experts as well as the machine learning systems needed to create that IT2. And so we've grown a library of patent filings around that as well. Currently, we have 15 patent applications with 2 of those issued and 13 pending with 4 more applications in process.
So in the case of, there's no exclusivity. If MasterCard adopts you, can other payment services adopt you?
So we were able to work with a wide variety of financial service providers, but not even just financial services. So other industries that have approached us, we try to have some kind of disciplined industry focus. Other industries that have approached us include things like travel, peer-to-peer, even things like social services like online or social platforms like online dating. So there's a growing market interest, as you kind of pointed out, as this digital economy grows so quickly.
And just last question, the enterprise pays you the subscription of the license fee. The individual gets the free app to use, right?
So correct. The individual consumer doesn't pay for the service directly unless it's passed on to them by the enterprise.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Very interesting.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. So our final company is going to be Lazarus 3D. Smrt, please unmute your mic and turn on your camera. Dr. Smrt Zonneveld is the president and founder of Lazarus 3D. She has a proven track record as a successful scientist with over a dozen scientific publications focused on human genetics and 3D printing. Please welcome Smrt.
Thank you so much for having me, everyone. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Joanna, for the kind introduction. So here today, we're going to talk about experience. There is no substitute for experience. And if you've ever been to a concert, the musician plays with such elegance and so flawlessly, making it look easy, but that's definitely not the case. With countless hours of practice and years of experience, a Vivaldi is born. In medicine, experience is invaluable as well, but the unfortunate truth is that surgeons don't, or rather can't, rehearse your upcoming surgery before they operate on you. And because of this, surgeons sometimes make mistakes, which can cost someone's life. Surgeon skills should not compromise your quality of care. Lazarus 3D has developed the solution to address this problem. 5 years ago, we developed a patented technology that allows us to create 3D printed replicas of individuals directly from their scan data. Surgeons use these models to rehearse every surgery ahead of time before operating on their patients. I'm about to show you an example of a Lazarus 3D model. It's not real, but it looks very realistic and it's graphic. This is a Lazarus 3D model of a breast tumor. Our models can be treated like real tissue and can be operated on using the same instruments and devices as used on actual procedures. This technology is not only improving surgical care for all, but we are changing the future of medicine. Let's say you have a surgery scheduled tomorrow or next week. Your physician sends the data, your diagnostic scan data, to Lazarus 3D. Using our patented technology, Lazarus 3D will deliver a replica of your anatomy to your surgeon within 48 hours. Surgeons will use Lazarus 3D models to practice your surgery and perfect their surgical plan before your real case. Let's look at a real example. Maria was a cancer patient with a complex kidney tumor, and English was not her first language. Her surgeon, Dr. Sean Watson at the Boston Medical Center, used a replica of Maria's kidney with her tumor to rehearse her condition before operating. Before he did that, he actually used the model to help her understand her condition and treatment options. By rehearsing ahead of time, he was able to perfect his surgical plan, and her surgery was successful thanks to Dr. Sean Watson. Lazarus 3D empowers doctors to operate with confidence. Lazarus 3D is already profitable and has been fueled by over $2.3 million in sales to hospitals and medical device companies. Our technology is protected by multiple patents. In 2020, CPT codes or billing codes were issued by the American Medical Association for patient-specific 3D models. Lazarus 3D is a registered healthcare provider, and we are on track to get our FDA clearance this year. We've achieved all of this using only $650,000 of investor money till date. Top hospitals across the country are already using Lazarus 3D models to improve patient safety and outcomes. Here are some of our top paying customers. They are the champions of this new technology, and we are so proud to support them. Lazarus 3D has also been recognized by prominent medical organizations and even NASA for our groundbreaking technology. We have come a long way, but this is just the beginning. Come join us in this mission to personalize surgical care like never before. Thank you so much.
Very interesting. Let's talk the process for a moment. I'm a doctor in Boston. What about brain surgery? Can you do this with brain tumors?
Absolutely. So we have created models from head to toe. We're not restricted by any anatomical parts or conditions. So we have built actually brain surgery models for the University of Miami for Dr. Komotor's team, who is one of the highest volume brain surgeons in the US.
And this tissue you're basically producing you're using 3D printing to produce tissue that is very lifelike. Is that, and then with that model you showed us, it seemed to have fluids like blood. Are you packaging that up and delivering the breast ready for him to practice on?
Absolutely, exactly. So within 24 hours of receiving the MRI or CT scan of the individual, which is de-identified, we analyze the scan and create a digital twin. And from that, we use our proprietary and patented 3D printing technology to create the physical replica. And that physical replica captures the biomechanical properties of the real tissue. So our synthetic materials mimic the lifelike tissue properties, as well as have vessels and can bleed. So when the surgeon is operating on it, they can cut into it, suture it, do robotic, do open, do partial, or laparoscopic procedures on it, just as they would on the patient. And that's within 24 hours. So overall, from start to finish, it's a 48-hour process. When it arrives at the physician's office, it's ready for use.
And what is the cost? Let's walk through a case study. The doctor contacts you, you download the data, the whole thing. What is it? And who do you invoice?
That's a great question. So the payers are reimbursing these patient-specific models. We're about to be FDA cleared. So there are VURs or basically values assigned to dollar amounts for these patient-specific models. And that's dependent on how many structures we create. So in the example of a kidney, where we have the kidney, the healthy parenchyma, then we have the tumor, we have the artery, the vein, and let's say some surrounding structures. On average, a model like this will range from $2,500 to $4,000. This will be reimbursed through private insurers and ultimately Medicare and Medicaid. Right now, we are billing to hospitals, and hospitals are seeking reimbursement from the patient's insurance.
That adds to the cost of the procedure. What is the benefit? Does the doctor say, look, I'm going to order this because it's a complex surgery? If you have a high volume brain surgeon and he's had, I'm going to assume 90% success, does he really need this? Or, I mean, or if you're the patient, is there any way, look, I want everything I can possibly get because I'm worried about my kidney. Can I buy it privately and give it to the surgeon to show him? What are the different models on how that could work?
Yeah, this is a great question. So currently, patients, doctors, hospitals can all individually purchase the models as long as the physician sees the value in using it for various aspects of the patient surgery. So one is patient communication and education. So informed decision making for the patient is really difficult right now when they have to rely on looking at 2D blobs of gray and white CT scans. That's not very informative. And if your surgeon tells you that, hey, you need to make a decision, are you going to elect a robotic surgery or do you want me to do a laparoscopic or an open procedure, you really have limited information to base your decision from that. So the physical model helps the doctor engage and inform the patient in a much significant way. And then your second question was, what if you're a high volume brain surgeon? Will you find value in this? The value for high volume surgeons that have done this for 20 plus years lies in those cases that are so unique and something that where the patient's anatomy is so atypical that even for them to imagine the surgery from 2D scans in 3D in their brain is not so easy. And some of the physicians that we work with at centers of excellence, such as the Cleveland Clinic or at the Texas Medical Center, who have 20 plus years of experience, still find value in actually having the physical model because it informs them in a really unprecedented way. They're able to go in and they're able to dissect the anatomy and perfect their surgical plan, even when they have so much experience, but they haven't ever experienced on this specific case before.
What is the gross margin on a middle of the range sale? Let's say $3,000. What do you make?
Thank you. Our gross margins are 70 to 80% for patient-specific models.
Wow. Okay. Very, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. This was a great opportunity. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Thank you so much, Smrt. That was amazing. I saw the chat was really going crazy, especially when you had some of those videos.
I hope I didn't scare people.
Scared and impressed. I think it's a good combo. So Kevin, we are done with all of the presentations. Just so everyone knows, you should have gotten a poll if you're on Zoom. You're going to have the chance to actually vote for your favorite, and that company is going to win $5,000 as the crowd pick. If you are on LinkedIn Live, you can go to startengine.com/shark just to sort of stay in the loop, and then you'll be able to vote in all of our future events. So Kevin, quickly before we start discussing what your favorite picks are and sort of the pros and cons, I realize we have over 1,000 companies that applied that didn't actually get to pitch today. What would you say to those companies that are still looking to grow their business and raise funding?
Well, StartEngine does multiple things. There's a community of entrepreneurs presenting their deals, but there's also a very large community of investors. And that's why I think it's a premier platform. If you're interested in raising capital, this is the place to come, because let me give you the reasons I got involved in. First of all, I have a plethora of companies and many of them already use StartEngine. But the thing that really intrigues me is obviously the regulator is supporting this democratization of investment, because they started with the Jobs Act, years have gone by, they've increased the first raise from 1,070,000 to now 5 million. That's competitive with any other platform, whether it be private equity, whether it be hedge funds or the traditional venture capital firm. But the thing that you have to understand as an entrepreneur is when you're able to issue shares under the terms that you find are equivalent. In other words, if you don't want to have somebody sitting with a preference share on top of you or on top of some of your early investors, the way to go is equity crowdfunding, because you can issue the same class of share to everybody and have a level playing field. As I said earlier, I really do not like one class of investor having a preference over another. That just seems un-American to me, and I don't like it. And that's why I got involved in equity crowdfunding. I much prefer everybody to have all the information. You price the deal the way you think is going to be fair. Then you go to work on executional skills and deliver on what you promised your investors. And as you grow, you continue to use the platform to continue to finance. And if you wish, which I think you should, you always issue the same class of share to everybody. That's the way I look at it, and that's why I like the platform. So you should look at StartEngine and this opportunity as a way to broadcast your deal, your vision, your business, and your potential growth.
Yeah, that's really great. And you mentioned this, but we have a community of over 400,000 investors and users. So if you go onto our platform, it's very similar to actually this pitch show, because you can go to each of the campaign pages, you can add your comments, you can share your thoughts, and you can make a decision of which company do you want to invest in. Okay, I think we need to, I can see all the people who are waiting and talking about what their votes are. So Kevin, walk me through, what are you considering? What did you think of the pitches?
You know, Joanna, this is a really tough pitch. Obviously, they're getting better each time. There's a lot more interest because of that $5 million in the first raise now. I'm really struggling because, you know, I was watching them saying, oh, that's the one I'm going to go with. And then I see the next one. No, this is better. You know, it's kind of a really, but they're all great. They're all great. I found the educational product for the first time, and I came from that industry really strong. She knows what she's doing. Obviously, she's going to get higher margins as she moves to more of a software platform, but she's entered the market with the brand. I liked it a lot. I really did. Space was intriguing. I mean, that was low-cost model to grow stem cells. I mean, that alone, what a fantastic deal. I'm just giving you my impressions.
Yeah.
Peekaboo, I know. I mean, my goodness. You know, I'm just, you know, with Jessica, she should have taken mine and Lori's deal. Even though Lori and I didn't agree on the strategy forward, I really like that product because it would be something I would buy and eat instead of traditional ice cream. Healthier, lower cal, and now less sugar with your new formulation. So, you know, I gotta love it. Andrew was really intriguing with IT2. I mean, it's already public, very fascinating. I mean, every deal is, but then, you know, this Lazarus 3D, I mean, I'm sorry.
Amazing.
It's amazing. It's my top choice. I just was blown away. I just think it's so interesting. But, you know, I'm suffering because I want the other ones. They should all be winners. They should all be winners.
I think the same thing is happening in the chat. I see everyone saying, I want to invest in this company. I want to invest in that company. And that's really why StartEngine exists.
But so, she was a very strong presenter. They all were, but she was really, really up there. And that's what I care about, executional skills. You can start to measure that by presentation skills. Very, very strong. I'm picking her as my winner. A spectacular and really interesting, and also helps people survive very complicated surgeries. That's a mission-driven deal, which is very strong. But I also feel that, I mean, it was really tough. I suffer when I see all these great ideas.
I know.
I want them all to win. But Joanna, that's my choice.
Amazing. So, okay, Dr. Z, I want you to quickly unmute yourself and just, you know, share a thank you. You are officially Kevin's pick. You win $25,000, a one-on-one with our CEO and with Kevin O'Leary, and $40,000 of in-kind services from our partners at Brex, HubSpot, and Hawke Media.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much, Joanna and Inaki, everyone, for organizing this and for having us. I really still can't believe it. I'm really stoked. Thank you, StartEngine, really, like, for this opportunity. And Kevin, I'm really excited to engage with you and with StartEngine as well and see where this goes. We're doing this for everyone's better future of healthcare, a better tomorrow. So I really appreciate everyone, all the audience and all of the viewers here as well. Thank you so much.
I'm going to give you a 9 out of 10 for your presentation, and I never do that. That's never.
Could you tell that I was nervous?
You did not seem nervous. You seemed, you were amazing. And then I want to announce also the crowd favorite. So Kevin may not have been willing to give this company a second chance, but the crowd was Peekaboo Ice Cream, won the crowd favorite. So congratulations to Jessica. You are the winner of $5,000 and the crowd loves you.
I knew it. I knew that would happen. I knew it. But I mean, but I must tell everybody, you know, having tried the product, it's outstanding. It's really, it doesn't taste like shit. It's really good. And that's the big difference on a lot of these organic or vegan or, you know, formulations that try and reduce calories or sugars. She hit it out of the park because her constituency are children. And the minute they taste something they don't like, they're not going to eat it. This stuff's
they're brutally
fantastic.
honest focus groups.
Yeah. It was really, really good. Really good stuff.
Well, congratulations to Jessica, and congratulations to all the companies that participated. And just a huge thank you to everyone, the companies, everyone who's a viewer. Kevin, huge thank you to you. And of course, to our sponsors. So again, if you want to pitch at the next show, if you want to raise capital through StartEngine or just talk about funding options, go to startengine.com/shark, and we will do this again next quarter. Thanks again, Kevin.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.